All right, we'll go next to the big one, Alabama at Georgia. Georgia right now about a 3-point favorite. This game's 7:30 Eastern time on ABC, Sanford Stadium. Their faithful are planning a blackout. We've seen this before. Hopefully for Georgia fans, it works out a little better this time. Alabama has dominated the recent series. They've won 9 of the last 10, including the thriller last year in Tuscaloosa during the 24 campaign. Kalen DeBoer, year 2, tons of success. He's a big game coach. That's, I think, what's been most amazing about seeing his performances over the course of his time at Fresno, at Washington, and now at Alabama. The bigger the game, the better his teams seemingly play. Against AP top 25 opponents, he's 15-3. And reminder, that's at Washington and at Fresno State. 2 places that are not often going toe-to-toe with some of the best in college football, and he does it against top-tier competition from a coaching standpoint. Kalen DeBoer is 6-0 against Kirby Smart, who, by all accounts, is one of, if not the best coaches in college football, Dan Lanning at Oregon, and Steve Sarkisian. So 6-0 against those coaches says a lot about his coaching prowess in big games. For Kirby Smart, on the other side, we know it's a physical football team that has long hung their hat on the defensive side of the football. This is still, I think, one of the toughest teams, both mentally and physically, in the sport. He's got 2 national champions. The one issue has been the performances against Alabama. He's just 1-6 against Alabama. It's a premier coordinator matchup. Brian Grubb, the offensive coordinator for Alabama, among the best in passing yards, total yards, utilizing tempo, utilizing pre-snap motion, creating creative route combinations to create favorable matchups. His system is really thoughtful, and their protection will be at a premium in this game against Glenn Schumann, the defensive coordinator. Is a very complex defense, especially when you get on third down. They want to bring pressures. They want to bring different disguises. They want to create confusion for the opposing quarterback. How will Schumann, whose defense is primarily constructed to kind of take down that traditional pro-style offense, how will they adapt to neutralize some of the modern nuance that you'll see from Ryan Grubb? Strengths and weaknesses for both teams. We'll just go through this quickly. Alabama, their strengths so far, elite passing attack, top 10 unit nationally, super efficient quarterback, one of the best play callers in America. They've created a bunch of explosive plays that have been great from a ball security standpoint. And the pass protection the last couple of weeks has been quite a bit better than it was early on. But one of the questions is the run defense. The third down defense has been somewhat problematic, and they've been very inconsistent running the football up to this point of the season. The Georgia Bulldogs, on the other side, we know they have a very powerful rushing attack. They always do. We know they can control the clock. They can control the tempo of the game. That's always been a huge strength of a Kirby Smart coach team. They also have the home field advantage, and they're extremely disciplined as well. However, the game against Tennessee revealed some issues on the defensive side. The pass defense was somewhat problematic. The pass rush was nowhere to be found. And the offensive line, they've been a little bit banged up on the right side. That has led to some inconsistencies up front as well. The quarterback duel is an intriguing one for sure. Ty Simpson has taken command of this team. It's a complex system. The numbers have been pretty dang good. 72% completion, 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, one of the best quarterback ratings in college football. And I think he's going to have to continue to be very good on the intermediate passing attack. That's an area from last year that was a big weakness for Alabama, and that has been a huge point of improvement from where they're at so far. He's a capable runner, not a guy that's going to crush you with his legs. He wants to operate as a passer first, and you could kind of tell his confidence growing from week 1 to week 2 to week 3. He started to make some big-time throws in that game against Wisconsin. Here's hoping that some of that can carry over into the bye week and into the performance against Georgia. Gunnar Stockton alleviated a lot of question marks when he went on the road and played the way he played against Tennessee. He's completing over 70%, just 4 touchdowns through the air, but 721. Did have an interception. He didn't throw it. The backup threw it. So there is an interception on the scorecard there for Georgia, but it was on a Hail Mary at the end of Tennessee halftime. Come on, it doesn't matter. The one thing that Stockton does really well is he's a great runner. Has 28 carries for 124, 3 touchdowns. He's the team's third leading rusher, and he's always a threat on design quarterback runs, especially quarterback sweeps and in the scramble drill situations. I really like the leadership. I really like the toughness, and I loved most what I saw on display in the hostile road environment at Tennessee. The guy's got tremendous poise. He can handle the pressure of a big-time matchup in the SEC, so this game could absolutely come down to quarterback play, especially with the way Alabama's kind of struggled to run the football. Simpson's kind of been the straw that stirs the drink. And on the other side, Stockton, he's kind of the facilitator to an extent. His primary job is to kind of manage the game, protect the football. But if you watch his performance against Tennessee, there's a lot more in the tank there. Alabama, a couple key injuries to be mindful of: Tim Keenan and Jam Miller. Tim Keenan got hurt before the season. He's a defensive tackle. It's sounding like he will be back for this game. That is a huge addition, not just as far as play, but also in leadership along that defensive line. Jam Miller got hurt in the second scrimmage of Alabama's preseason camp. He's now likely back as well. He is by far their best option at running back and can contribute on all 3 downs. One other guy to watch too is LT Overton. Got a little banged up in the Wisconsin game, expected to play, but will he be at 100%? That could be impactful as well. For Georgia, a couple question marks along the offensive line. I don't think anyone's going to be out, but Juan Gaston, their right guard, Ernest Green, their right tackle, these two guys being at 100% is huge. They've both been battling a couple injuries. It's kind of a knee ankle for Gaston, back for Green. They were unable to finish the game against Tennessee. If they're back in at 100% off the bye week, that could be huge because you don't want more youth coming up in a big environment against a quality SEC defensive line. Question number 1, can Alabama's passing attack challenge Georgia's secondary? This is a tremendous matchup in this game. And look, if you look at Alabama's offense, they've been outstanding through the air. Top 10 in passing yards per game, top 20 in yards per attempt, and the receiving core has become deeper than we ever could have imagined. Jeremy Bernard has been a revelation. This is a really good group with what Jeremy Bernard does as a number 1, but Ryan Williams is also a number 1, and they'll be going against a Georgia defense that, statistically speaking, has been pretty vulnerable through the air. They're giving up over 250 a game through the air. So if Ty Simpson is allowed to kind of stand comfortably in the pocket, it's highly probable that Alabama's receivers will find some openings against Georgia's secondary. I think they have to win the explosive play battle. Alabama's got to create a bunch of big plays. They got to move the ball down the field by creating chunk yardage, because I don't think Georgia's a team that you can just paper cut to death. You got to kill them by way of the guillotine. Tennessee did that effectively. Will they be able to do that? Will Alabama be able to do that the way Tennessee was able to do? Because Georgia probably going to employ a little bit more of a bend, don't break defense. Probably not going to totally shut down Alabama's passing attack, but I think the big key is kind of limiting those explosives. Force Alabama to long drives, and then in the red zone, that's when they stiffen and turn potential touchdowns into field goals. Question number 2. If not, and that's an answer to the previous question, if Alabama's receivers are going off against Georgia's secondary, can Georgia's pass rush get home? This has been a huge issue for Georgia so far, is they've struggled here in these first few games generating a lot of pressure. And that is something that you never anticipated in a million years when watching a Georgia defense. So far, they're 117th in sack percentage. That's a concern. And this Alabama's offensive line has been pretty good, but against Florida State, there were some times in which the pass protection was not elite. If you look at the numbers, they have improved greatly. But this will be much tougher competition, much more athletic personnel. But that pass rush for Georgia, it has not reached its ceiling at any point this year, but it might need to in this game, because if Ty Simpson gets really comfortable, that's when he can start to pick you apart. Question number 3, can Georgia's run game impose their will against Alabama's front 7? Now, I do still think that Georgia's biggest strength is just pounding the football. Super physical rushing attack. 220 yards a game. They want to control the line of scrimmage. Even in the game against Tennessee, when they're in a significant hole, they stayed committed to the run game. Just committed to handing it to a deep stable of backs. You do, I think, have a game breaker in Nate Frazier. They're going to stay patient. They're going to hand it, and they're going to continue to just try to pound away pound away, because Alabama's run defense up to this point has not been great. They got gashed by Florida State to the tune of 230. Right now, they're in the 50s, allowing nearly 140 yards per game on the ground. And then the other thing that you got to account for too, Alabama, what's their depth look like along the defensive front? They lost Jeremiah Beeman earlier in the year. He's out for the season. Tim Keenan is now back, but how many plays will he be able to play? First game back out there. Will he be on a snap count limit? We'll see. Because if he's not out there, what does the depth look like behind him? I think Alabama needs to win on early downs defensively. The only way Alabama can win early downs defensively is by stopping the run. Alabama's third down defense, that's where things have been a little bit of a struggle from time to time. So this requires stopping Georgia's run game for minimal gains on first and second down, and then getting them behind the sticks, making it obvious passing attack. Now, if Georgia can establish the run, even with an offensive line that might be at less than 100%, then it can control the clock, it can impose their will in the game, it can challenge Alabama's depth. And I think winning the time of possession could be beneficial for Georgia in this matchup. So we'll see. Can they run the football? That's a big question in the game. Question 4, who will win the critical downs? That's third down and fourth down. In a game here, this is obviously Bama, Georgia, massive game, national championship, hopefuls. Third down could very well determine the game. And the Bulldogs, they're okay on third down. About 42% conversion going against an Alabama defense that has struggled so far. They're giving up 46% on the defensive side. That also extends to fourth down too, where Georgia's been perfect on fourth down, and Alabama's defense has given up 75% conversions on fourth down. So that's situational advantage in favor of Georgia, because Alabama has long struggled, at least the last couple of years, with their third down defense. Question 5, how important is the start of this game? Look, Alabama's road struggles the last 2 years have been documented. Alabama is 2-4 away from Bryant-Denny since Kalen DeBoer arrived. They lost at Vandy, at Tennessee, at Oklahoma, and at Florida State. They're averaging 18 points per game in those matchups and lost those games by an average of 11.8 points. The average also over 8 penalties in a game in those games, highlighted by the 15 penalties they had at Tennessee last season. But if Alabama can start fast, take the Sanford Stadium crowd out of it, that could be huge. If Ty Simpson's surgical, hitting some deep shots to Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams, Isaiah Horton, and they can build a double-digit lead at some point, that could force Georgia out of their comfort zone and becoming a little bit more pass-happy than they probably want to be. And that kind of plays directly into the hands of Alabama's super opportunistic ball-hawking secondary. The Sanford Stadium blackout crowd is a factor. They can cause false starts. They can cause communication issues for the Alabama offense. So I think it's imperative for the Tide to get off to a good start. I'm taking Alabama in this game. And part of the reason why is I feel like the weakness of Georgia was exposed in the Tennessee game. That was their pass rush, or lack thereof, or their inability to cover down elite level wide receivers. I think Alabama's weapons are better than Tennessee's. I think Alabama's secondary is better than Tennessee's. I think Alabama gets this win in what should be a hard-fought battle there in Sanford Stadium.